Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the Adidas Messi 16.1 in the new Red Limit Pack colorway. Now inside the box, along with the shoes, they do include a string bag, which is made from a black perforated mesh, the Adidas and Messi logos there on the front, and they also include an extra set of comfort insoles, which feature a synthetic suede liner on top, and it's just a thicker solid foam. So if you just want more heavily cushioned insoles, again, you get those as an extra, along with the lightweight ones already inside of the shoes, which of course we'll take a look at later in the video. And of course, here is a look at the Red Limit Pack Messi 16.1. In today's video, we're going to go over all the details of the colorway itself. We'll talk tech specs and general performance, take a look at the weight of the shoe, as well as take a look at how these things fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more about the Red Limit Pack Messi 16.1, stick around, watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, there'll be a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $200 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, little pop-up on screen, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. Starting off with the colorway, this is of course part of the Red Limit Pack, and the colors listed are very simple: red, core black, and white. But as you can very clearly see, especially in comparison to the other shoes in the Red Limit Pack, these aren't just red. It's more of a burnt orange color, I guess is the best way to describe it. You can see the laces, they're not red. And the upper well does have this kind of metallic, shiny, almost look to it. When it hits the light, it does look particularly orange. Never though does it look overly red. You can even see the liner is definitely more orange than red, at least in my opinion. So that's something that's definitely worth keeping in mind if you are planning on picking these up expecting all red shoes. It's the fact that they are more orange than they are red. I think that's pretty tough to argue against. You have the white rim along the bottom, which I actually think looks pretty cool, being that it does flow into the white sole plate as well. This being a Messi 16.1, it's just a standard white finish to the sole plate. It's white plastic essentially, so there's no graphic or finish that is going to wear off over time, although it will get dirty and scratch up, and that's something that's just going to happen with pretty much any sole plate. You have the tinted black translucent stud tips, and then of course the black Adidas stripes at the heel, the black Adidas branding on the heel as well, your agility knit branding, and then the Messi logo there in the midfoot area. So overall, pretty straightforward colorway, nothing too crazy. It's a very unique kind of shiny orange color, so I will give it that. I'm personally not too crazy about it, but nonetheless, let me know what you guys think of these down below in the comment section. Do you like how they look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. When it comes to performance, the Messi 16.1 is a pretty solid shoe overall, being that it is Messi's signature line. It's interesting because while this is a top-end model, it's not the most expensive top-end model, although this is the variation of Messi's line that he himself chooses to wear. I'm sure he doesn't wear a fully stock version of the Messi 16.1, but he doesn't wear the pure agility variation with the lace cover and just a very different construction altogether. So what we're going to do is talk about the tech specs that you should know in this video if you're at all considering the Messi 16.1. And again, I just feel like it's the version that is more worth talking about just because it is the version that Messi himself does actually wear. So with this upper, you're getting an agility knit material. That's what Adidas calls it. It is a mesh-based synthetic, and it does have kind of this almost honeycomb look to it. It's just kind of a standard crisscross mesh pattern. You can see some of it exposed right here at the top of the tongue area. And basically, it's that mesh base with a synthetic suede liner on the inside that does add some decent thickness and I guess rigidity to the material itself, and then a fused polyurethane layer on top, kind of a protective coating if you will, and it also adds a lot of structure to what is a mesh-based synthetic material. Now, again, because it is a mesh-based synthetic, you automatically want to compare it to something like a Hypervenom Phantom 2 or Hypervenom Finish with its Nike Skin upper. This isn't really like that. This is thinner in general, and doesn't necessarily have the same padded sensation on the ball. I would say that out of all of the current Adidas models, this is going to have the thinnest touch on the ball with the least amount of padding. So if I'm comparing this to something from another brand, it would be something like the Nike Mercurial Vapor 11, although that is a thinner shoe that I think just offers a more natural, kind of true barefoot sensation. This It's a thinner synthetic material, but there's a lot of structure added from the liner itself. It really does take away from, I guess, the natural sensation you would expect from such a thin material for the base of the upper. So while the touch on the ball is thin, you don't necessarily get the feedback that I think you would expect just based in terms of actual feel. You make contact with the ball and there's kind of a loss in feel that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a material that's as thin as this agility knit is. So that's kind of my one criticism of this particular shoe, is that I don't really have any issues with the comfort level of the upper or the way that it, I guess, moves with your foot. That's kind of a good aspect of it. It's just the actual touch on the ball. It just doesn't have quite the premium feel that I was expecting, or at least what you can get from other super thin synthetics out there. I also don't really love how they kind of incorporated the seams on this particular shoe. You have one here on the lateral side of the midfoot, kind of on a, I guess, 45, 50 degree angle. And then on the medial side of the forefoot, again, you have this really kind of awkward seam, which I feel like that's something they could have perhaps incorporated into somewhat of a one-piece design. I'm not sure if it was not possible. I assume it wasn't if they decided for this particular design, but on a $200 shoe, it just seems like awkward spots to have a seam, although they don't have the biggest impact in terms of how the shoe fits and feels on your foot. The polyurethane finish to the upper, it does maintain the texturing of that kind of mesh base to the shoe, not really noticeable on the ball, and it's not overly grippy either. Maintains a relatively kind of normal grip sensation on the ball. And for whatever reason, even though it's a top-end model, Adidas does not include their non-stop grip dots on the Messi line at all, be it the 16.1 or the Pure Agility, even though you will get them on pretty much all the other top-end models, aside from the Copa 17.1 now. But that's something that, again, not included on the Messi line for whatever reason. As far as the tongue and lacing system is concerned, the laces are pushed ever so slightly to the lateral side of the shoe. It is fairly central though. And then you have a burrito style tongue with the Messi 16.1, which sounds funny, but the reason why it's called a burrito style tongue is because it kind of wraps over top of your foot. So if you take this medial side of the upper, it flows all the way across the top of your foot completely seamlessly, and then just kind of tucks back in on the lateral side of the upper. And what I really don't like, again, on the Messi 16.1 is that they actually attached this side of the tongue to this kind of I guess fairly stiff elasticated strap that runs into the base of the sole. So you can't actually pull this out or open this up very much at all. I understand why they did it, just so you don't have to kind of fight with this side of the tongue when you're putting the shoes on. But it does make for a little bit of a pinch spot in the midfoot based on my experience with the shoe. And it takes away from some of the comfort and I guess adds thickness and just bulk to the inside of the shoe that, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily need to be there. But they incorporated it, again, just so the tongue's not moving around on you when you're actually putting them on. I think it's more of a negative than a positive, but that's just my opinion. And you can see the lacing system, because of this burrito style tongue, you do get the single lace holes on the lateral side with the dual lace holes on the medial side. That actually does work quite well. For a burrito style tongue, it does fit quite well once you actually get them on your foot, although it is a little bit more difficult than you might expect just because you can't really make the opening that big when you're putting them on and taking them off. Low cut, as you can see, it doesn't have any of the same kind of internal tech fit system like you'll find on the Pure Agility model. Internal plastic heel counter, so pretty standard construction at the heel area of the shoe. Synthetic suede liner with a decent amount of padding. Nothing abnormal there, does get the job done. Really happy with that aspect. You get the lightweight insole right here, fully removable mesh liner on top and perforations throughout the majority of the insole. Single layer of foam, nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. And then moving on to the bottom, you are going to find a sprint frame construction that is exclusive to the Messi line. It does not incorporate an external heel counter, which I'm not sure why they don't have it on the Messi model. I think that's something that I would personally like to have, but not really something that's super noticeable in regards to performance. And then you get the Messi specific stud pattern, which is FGAG. It's the same layout that you'll find on all of their other models. It's just that the studs have kind of this triangular shape to them, these ones being a little bit smaller, and then at the very front and the very back, you can see they start triangular and then finish off as conical. So it's somewhat of a hybrid stud pattern between bladed and conical studs, but the end result is a stud pattern, that performs pretty well the same as all of the other Adidas stud patterns, exact same layout. very similar performance characteristics. You're really going to have a hard time kind of separating one from the other in terms of what Adidas stud patterns have on offer at the moment. So it gets the job done. It is usable on firm natural grass and artificial grass as well, even though I definitely think it's more of an FG stud pattern. But nonetheless, if you only want to buy one pair of shoes for two different types of playing surfaces, all of the Adidas models technically will have you covered. In regards to weight, I thought we'd weigh the Messi 16.1 in real time using this scale. Keep in mind this is a brand new pair in a size 9 US. Gonna throw them on the scale and you can see that they weigh in at 6.7 ounces, the equivalent of 189 grams. So from a weight standpoint, it's a very lightweight shoe. It's actually the lightest top-end model currently on offer from Adidas, lighter than the Pure Agility, lighter than anything from the X line or the Ace line. So again, if you're looking for that super thin, super light shoe, this is the thinnest and lightest on offer from Adidas. With that said, there are thinner and lighter options out there. I think most notably the Nike Mercurial Vapor 11, which if you're looking for that thin, light, super tight, responsive experience from a shoe, I personally think that the Vapor 11 does that a little bit better. But if you absolutely must have an Adidas model, the Messi 16.1 definitely will provide a similar sensation for you. All right, so here is a look at the Messi 16.1s on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock reddish orange laces, and on my right foot, I have a pair of white reflective SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. If you're interested, there'll be a little pop-up on screen, as well as a link down below in the description that'll take you directly to the website. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, like I said earlier, they're a little bit difficult to get on because of the kind of strapped down burrito style tongue. You can't really make the opening very big. So it's a bit of a struggle, but you get used to it pretty quickly. And once they're on, the fit of the shoe is quite comfortable. Again, I'm not crazy about this particular seam here on the medial side of the forefoot. I find that to be a little bit noticeable when the shoe is on your foot, but that's something that's going to vary from person to person depending on the shape of your foot. A lot of people comment when I wear these shoes or when I've shown these shoes on my feet is that it looks like they just barely fit. That's not necessarily the case. What they've done is they've made the sidewall of the shoe on the lateral side fairly short because they want the tongue to take up the majority of the central part of the upper. That's kind of the design point of a burrito style tongue. So there's very, very little overlap right here. That's just how they made the shoe. It's gonna fit like that on most people. So just keep that in mind. The base of the shoe isn't super narrow. It just has that look once they're on your feet. The upper though, it's got a good amount of softness and flexibility on your foot, no issues with heel slippage, and for the most part, they're pretty comfortable shoes out of the box. As far as fit is concerned, it is a tighter fitting shoe. The base, like I said, isn't overly narrow, and you're not really gonna get too much stretch out of this shoe. So if you have wide feet, maybe not the best option for you, but if you've worn tighter shoes in the past and you like that type of fit and feel, you're unlikely to have any issues with the Messi 16.1. As far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that's it for my review of the Red Limit Adidas Messi 16.1. If you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can either click the first link down below or the little eye in the corner of the screen. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $200 retail price. If you have any questions regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.